welcome back to Cheche. Today's guest is the governor of Machakos County. He's also the party leader of the Maendeleo Chap Party, Dr. Alfred Mutua. And his party has been on the receiving end of several defections lately. And so we've had a wide-ranging conversation this morning about those defections, but also his thoughts on the health crisis. And one of the points you made earlier was that you had no sympathy with the doctors who'd been jailed because they'd violated a court order, that being held for contempt. And one of our viewers has sent us this reminder. Do you remember how many contempt of court orders were issued against P.S. Mutea Iringo? Do you remember the contempt of court order issued against the former CBK governor, Professor Njuguna? Do you remember the contempt of court order issued against yourself, Governor Mutua? Do you remember a contempt of court order issued against P.S. Kibicho? What about Ndegwa Muhoro? All those court orders were never honored, yet none of them has ever been jailed for that. Why? Because they belong to the untouchable political class.
It's about
as
how
such,
you respond
the
to
politically correct courts cannot enforce the orders.
It's about, you see, when Kibicho, for example, was cited for contempt of court because he had not done, he rushed to court. And he said, Judge, I am sorry, we have paid, this is the check. And say, you're off the hook. The other one said, we have done this. There's one time there was a contempt of order because against me when I was government spokesman, because I did not show up to court. I was not aware. So I rushed to court. And I said, Judge, I was in Naivasha, I was not aware, they did not serve me. They were asked, did you serve him? They said, we sent a message, we never served him. The judge said, okay, you've come, it is out. So it is not about just the content, it is about how you react. So the judge, when the doctors were given orders to call off the strike, they defied the court. And so when they were told they are being held in contempt, they should have run back to court and said, we are sorry, we have obeyed the court order. That's how it's done. All these people have been smart in obeying the court orders. So you don't tell them, even the governor of the central bank, he obeyed the court order. That is why they were not jailed. It has nothing to do with connections. It's about when you're held in contempt. And the reason that law is there for contempt of court is to ensure that the judgments are followed, or you are personally held liable. If the judges tell me do this, I will do it. If I don't do it for whatever reason, because of time, I'll go and explain myself to the judge and say, I am trying to do it. The money got transferred wrongly. My county secretary the other day was cited for contempt to explain why she had not paid somebody where a judgment had been done, And the first thing, we rushed to court, and we were able to show that the money is coming from the national government, treasury, the CBK. We had applied, we had all intentions, there was a delay, we had even gone to CBK and treasury to get the monies, and the judge understood and said, okay, when do you think you'll be able to obey the court order? And we were able to do it. So a contempt of court order is not about the subject at hand. It's not about the monies being paid, it's not about doctors, it's not about accidents, it's about obeying that court order. You obey first, you negotiate later. That's how it works. You obey first, you negotiate later. And it's just a principle of law and order all over the world.
Governor, I want you twice saying that you support the current government, the election.
I support the re-election of Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yet we know there have been very serious complaints about corruption and many other areas.
Yes.
And are you happy that what happened at National Youth Service, all those other places?
I'm not. Yeah, but you see, I know the challenges that Uhuru Kenyatta has faced, and I know the corruption that haunts his government and him as an individual, because it bothers him a lot about the things that happen in his government. Uhuru Kenyatta, I believe, bottom of my heart, is not a corrupt man. Uhuru Kenyatta is overseeing a government that has systems that have been in this country for so long, whereby you're telling me people are asking for money now in Huduma centers and others. He's overseeing a government structure that has been so corrupt in our country for so long that even when the Prime Minister of this country, Raila Amolo Odinga, was in government, he also had scandals where there was, in his watch, there was the Kazi kwa Vijana scandal. In his watch, there was the maize scandal. You know, as a man, you run a system where things are happening under your watch. You know what I mean? So when I look at Uhuru Kenyatta, we need to judge, does he have the intent? Is he corrupt, first of all? No. Is he committed to fighting corruption and changing the system?
But he says,
I do believe he is.
He says, what can I do? What do you want me to do?
I believe, no.
But he's the president.
But you see what he said is this. Yeah, but as the president, can he go arbitrarily firing judges? Can he go firing the DPP? Can he go firing all these constitutional office holders who he believes have not maybe risen to where they should have risen? You know what I mean? But you see, the problem is that corruption has become so institutionalized in this country that it's everywhere and has become accepted, that you have to give something to get something.
Is that the case in is that the case in your county?
It's a case in my county. I just yesterday I did a major a mini reshuffle where I moved the people in the pay structure, because I realized you've got these 10 individuals there, whereby you come from this point, there's invoicing, validation, or whatever you do it, all the way to the payment structure. They have got into a system whereby the file will not move from one to the other unless there's a kickback. One to the other, because they're holding a contractor hostage. Unless this contractor, if they are paying the contractor 10 million, unless they cough 1 million shillings, that process will never be complete. You know, and as a governor there, I'm not involved. I'm not getting the kickback. It has nothing to do with me. But it has become so institutionalized. We've got a culture of greed in this country.
But is there something you can do?
That is what the issue is, once you realize what have you done about it. And so I have undertaken the changes.
Why can't you have a chat with Uhuru Kenyatta, is your friend? Have a chat with him, tell him how you do it in Machakos.
I've had a chat with Uhuru Kenyatta, and I believe he's committed. Uhuru Kenyatta is also leading a government made up of many factions, because it's a government that came together to be able to change this country. At times I feel that he is changed down by politics and in other aspects, but when I look and
family,
and I know these fellas.
So what about family?
I don't think so. Not as much as has been said, you know, or exaggerated. The family of Jomo Kenyatta and Mama Ngina have been very entrepreneurial, regardless of which government has been there, and they are very good business people. They have always done that.
Are you heavily blaming a faction in the government?
What I want to say is that when I look at Uhuru Kenyatta and I compare him, and I know these fellas, by the way, you know, I worked for 10 years with the men, mostly men, unfortunately, in opposition, and mostly men in government. I've worked with them. I was privy to security documents. I know them in out. Wote nawajua hao, wote nawajua. You know what I mean? I know them. And so when I say that I'm supporting Uhuru Kenyatta, it is not just an emotional attachment. I'm thinking about, where do I want this country to be?
You are talking very much about the president, but not the deputy president.
No, are you supporting the president or the president?
You see, for me, I look at it as the government of Uhuru Kenyatta. It is the government of Alfred Mutua in Machakos. It is the government of Donald Trump in America. It is the government of President Magufuli in. You know what I mean? That's the context I'm talking about. You know, you vote for the president, and so, you know, when I look at where I want this country to be in about 15 to 20 years, we want to turn around this country such that our young people are not running abroad to look for work, so they can get work here. We need to turn around this country such that doctors are living comfortably the way you said. We need to be on an economic path to development. We need to plant seeds that are going to give us fruits regardless of the weeds that are choking. So I have seen that Uhuru Kenyatta has planted seeds that are going to have good trees for fruits. Yes, there are weeds that are choking those trees, those seeds at this time.
Within his government.
Of corruption, of inefficiency, of maybe at times inequality in the end. But you don't just cut the whole tree down because it gave you one rotten apple or one rotten mango. You don't cut the whole tree down. you sustain and you work to make sure, you know, something is done about it. But I think call Uhuru Kenyatta, he can come and talk about something.
Governor, I was looking for an answer to my question.
Yes.
I was looking for an answer to my question in your statement. It didn't come out clear, it's still hazy. You said that some of the challenges are the composition of the government, the factions and all the rest. And I asked a clear question. Are you blaming a faction of the current government for the ills in the government?
You see, Uhuru Kenyatta inherited a system that had been there before him. I am luckier than him because I had a clean plate when I went in. So I was able to, and even with my clean plate, I'm facing problems. You know, these fellas are stealing. You know, I'm facing problems. These people are not working. And these are clean slate. I employed about maybe a third of the government. We inherited the rest. Uhuru Kenyatta inherited over 200,000 public officers who know how to do things with political masters who know how to do things. So he's been held hostage by systems that have been there before him that he's tried to change and he's trying to change. And I think that Mandela chap comes in because it gives refuge to people maybe who find that
if he is a hostage,
systems maybe
why should we re-elect him?
or NASA and others. Yeah, because even the next leader, maybe even if we re-elected some, you know, worse, because maybe that other leader may even hold us even more hostage, regardless of who that is, because we know these people. You look at the track record of somebody, you look at where they are going, and the intent. You see, even, are you a lawyer? I
No, I am
you're a lawyer. You know?
I am not.
He's a journalist.
You see,
like all of us.
and that, you know, you have to look at intent. Did this person intend well? Was the intention to do bad? Was the intention? That is why even in court they talk about the difference between, was it what do you call it? Thought of before. What do you call it? Was it a forethought?
Malice, a forethought.
Was it
Something
malice?
like
Was there a forethought, or was it an accident? Was it a reaction? So when I look at Uhuru Kenyatta's intent, I see it as a good intent. It is less about acquisition of power. You know, he's been president. You cannot change that. The history of books will say he was the 4th president of Kenya. He's already there. But does he just want continuity for power, or does he have an intent to do well? Because you asked me about 2022, and I said, I don't want to talk about 2022. Let's talk about now and how we can fix the problems we have in this country. There are very many. And that is why I'm welcoming all aspirants. If you want a party that can support you, a party that will require you to have integrity and to walk that thin line to be able to sort out the problems of our people, and a party that people want because they want development. Karibu Maendeleo chapter.
You are advertising. You have put ads in the newspapers asking people to come.
Yes, I've put ads in the newspapers.
Because one of the things you said when you launched the party last year was that you intended to field candidates in all 57 counties. Where do you stand on that?
We're doing very well.
What does very well
I'm
mean?
actually pleased. We are planning to field 1,450 ward MCAs. Out of that, we are now at the range of about 600-700 across the country.
So almost half.
Almost half. In terms of MPs, 290 MPs. We're not doing very well in terms of women reps. You know, I think we have about 10 out of the 47.
And 2
but
senators.
we're urging them.
How many senators so far?
We have about 10.
10.
10. Yeah. We'll be announcing slowly. We have a major announcement on Thursday, where some very senior people are coming to Maendeleo chapter.
Tomorrow or the next
Thursday.
Next week.
On Thursday, where we've got strong people challenging.
So
some
do you
of the
mean
sitting
next
people.
week, next Thursday, or tomorrow Thursday?
Tomorrow, today's Wednesday.
Thursday.
Yes.
Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow.
What is the membership of Chap like as we speak? You have a figure?
We are registering people. Our target, I'll tell you our target. Our target is 6 million people. That is our target in terms of our membership. And that's where we're going. And we'll be holding a meeting with aspirants coming up very soon to go out and register members of our party.
And so far?
And also teach people our ideology.
So far?
I don't have the figure so far.
So look,
but we've gone over the 1.5 million mark.
So you describe the people that Maendeleo Chap appeals to as those who don't want to be caught up in the duopoly, you know, Jubilee on this, you know, side, Cord or NASA on the other side. But surely, you know, some of this also has to be the internal politics of these parties. So what assurance do the people who are joining your party have that you're not going to have bungled and botched nominations because you're chasing other people away?
Because, you know, most of these people, before they join the party, they come in and we sit down. And they look at the constitution, they look at nomination rules, we discuss how things will be done, we discuss how they are going to be involved in the whole process. That is how we are able to convince them. Some of these people are very senior. You know, Dr. Kileme Mwiria is a very senior man. Lenny Kivuti is a very senior man. Others are around to mention because they're coming until they announce, you know, and they're very senior people, they're very wise people, they're people who've made money. You know, they don't take unnecessary risks. So they don't just come and barge in. They've come because they have made, they have thought through it. They have discussed with their family. Because they have looked at the odds
they have
decided.
They know they will not get nominated in their own party.
No. They have looked at all the conditions and they have realized maybe this is a better party in terms of fairness and democracy, because they are fair. Because you know
they're out of favor in the other parties.
Yeah.
They do not stand a chance in the nomination
so
contest.
They go for the easy
option. So they go for the easy option.
No, they don't come for the easy option. They look at it and they say, will I get a fair deal? It's all about fairness.
Two things.
Because if you believe you're popular and you know, regardless of your popularity, you are going to be shafted, you're not going to stay there, because you also have a life. You're going to look for a better option where you'll not be, you know, put aside. And you know, and that is what happened. And they're ready. You know, Kileme Mwiria is ready for. They're not coming with direct nominations. They're ready for nominations also in Maendeleo Chap Chap.
What is the source of your funding, and who are the party officials other than Alfred Mutua?
We have the registered officials who come from across the country but we are going to hold party delegates meeting in the next few weeks, where we're going to have the interim party officials announced, and we'll be able to have them all out paraded, so you know. But if you go to Maendeleo Chap Chap today, office in Lavington, and you walk into that office, you will be able to speak your language, regardless where you come from in Kenya, and one or two people will be able to reply to you in your mother tongue, and maybe even come from your village. We are a party that has members and staff from all over this country.
Are you sure?
We have over 150 permanent staff working from all over this country, reaching out, and we have another 400 that we sent out to the grassroots to work on those things.
Talk about the money.
Your source of funding?
We've got friends who are funding us. We are not getting any money from Uhuru Kenyatta. We are not getting any money from Raila Odinga. We are not getting any money from any of the political movements at all. We are self-funding. We have people in this country, let me tell you, who really care about Kenya. We've got business people. We've got normal 190 who care. We are getting a lot of support, not in cash, but in kind. People who are saying, here is my lorry. Use this lorry. I will pay for the people who are going to dance and do activations. Somebody walked in and said, do you need printing? I will be printing the banners and posters for you free of charge, because I believe in what you stand for. And we're asking you, if you're out there, you know, I don't steal. We don't believe in stealing government coffers so as to pay. If you're out there and you want to contribute to us, give us something in kind. Provide food when you have meetings. You know, provide petrol. We want petrol to be able to facilitate our candidates. Because I'm telling them we have to run a campaign that says we can change this country. It doesn't have to be business as usual, where it's politics of big money.
So we're winding up now.
Karibuni sana.
We're winding. Okay, right. In fact, I was coming to that. We're winding up now, and you know, there are mixed messages here. Some people accusing you of hypocrisy on the health matters, on politics, but there are others who are interested in the Maendeleo Chap Chap party. So while you say karibu to them, how do they find you? How do they sign up? You know, if they want to defect and they're not senior leaders.
Yes. I think.
How do they get to you?
I'm on Twitter, that is at Dr. Alfred Mutua. I'm on Facebook, Dr. Alfred Mutua. But also the party.
You're going into the phone to look for the party number?
Yes, I don't have it offhand, you know, I'm trying to answer your question. But also we have our headquarters right here in Lavington, in Nairobi.
Branch offices across Kenya?
We've got branch offices across Kenya, and we're opening more offices, so you can walk into them. And you can call the following numbers, that is 079 66 22 376.
Again?
And that is 079 66 22 376, or 07 89 40 85 44. That is 07 89 40 85 44. Or write to me on Twitter at Dr. Alfred Mutua, and I will be able to, write to me and say you're interested. We'll get back to you. And we will. But you're asking people, if you have integrity and you want the best for this country, and you're ready to campaign, and you're ready to get your hands dirty and work hard, please come and join us as a volunteer, as an aspirant, regardless of where you are. As a party, we are committed to providing materials for our candidates.
You've talked about that, but I want to, before we go, you say that you support the re-election of President Kenyatta, which means that you, in terms of alignment, you're aligning ideologically with Jubilee.
I'm aligning ideologically with Uhuru Kenyatta.
Uhuru Kenyatta, not Jubilee. But on the ground, in Ukambani, in Machakos, does that matter, given that, people voted against Jubilee?
They voted then, but the ground has softened because we've been able to show the differences. And this culture of sycophancy. Let me tell you an example. I was looking at something earlier on. I was reading. Mutegi Njau was asking about my iPad. In the U.S., the leader that after Martin Luther King died, there emerged two main leaders of the black community. That is Jesse Jackson and Louis Farrakhan. And when Obama came up, people did not say, hey, our black community has Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson should first become president before a young man called Obama can become president, or it should be Louis Farrakhan. Because it has to be who is who. Sisi ndio tumekuwa hapo. Sisi ndio tumejenga sisi. We've been the one fighting for black domination and black power in the United States. No, they said yes, this young man is who we want to be. They had no problem with Obama, even though they did not say where did you come from. They said this man can become president. And he became president. But in Kenya, it's all about sycophancy. It was all about this kingpin. Ni yeye tu na ni yeye tu. Whether he's driving you into hell, where you are not going to get anything, into fire, munamfuata tu namna hii. What people of Machakos, people of Ukambani have realized that they are tired of the shame of being given food relief. And let me say here, and I'm not bragging because I think my staff have worked, but I'm so pleased. Because for the first time since independence, Machakos is not in the list of counties to be given food relief. But this is not an accident. When I became governor, I bought 40 tractors to plow to increase the yield. I went into a big and major program of giving free seed. We are now planting dengu. We give free chicken. We have taken measures to get us out of that shame of food relief. But others don't think about that. They think about power, supremacy. Mimi nikiingia mtapata kila kitu. But I'm saying, if you are not able to score a goal while playing for the minor league, what if you go to the Premier League? You'll not be able even to kick the ball. You have to be able to show what you've done here before you can move forward when you've been given opportunities to serve. So we are not afraid in Machakos. People of Machakos are behind me. I work with them. We talk. We have our issues. We correct them. But they want development. I just built another 15-kilometer road. We've got another 28-kilometer road nearly done. I just started another 20-kilometer road that I'm finishing in 2 months. We've got about 10 to 15 kilometer roads. You're accused of using poor quality material, so your roads are eroding fairly quickly. Show me the road that has eroded. These propagandists who have never done anything are decrying, but go to the ground and talk to Mwananchi. Go and see the boreholes. I'm not saying, don't take my word for it, as Alfred Mutua. Nenda ujione. Nenda Machakos kijijini uongee na wazee na kina mama na vijana.
What about those vehicles you bought irregularly?
Which I never bought any vehicles irregularly.
Okay, but we have to we can interrogate the
but and I did a very simple thing, which is what other people maybe did not do. We were given 140 million to buy vehicles for government officials. I decided I'm going to spend 35 million to buy vehicles, not 140 million buying huge luxury vehicles, and then I spend the rest of the money to buy 80 ambulances so that every location has an ambulance to ferry our mothers to hospital so they stop dying on the streets. If you want to jail me for that, blame me for that, so be it. But what I did is I took a moral responsibility to say that my people come first. My people are more important. That mother, that child is more important than the luxury of myself as one individual.
Great. So that's all we have time for this morning. I will thank you, our guest this morning, Dr. Alfred Mutua, the Governor of Machakos County and the leader of the Maendeleo Chap Party. Our thanks also to our panelists, Mutegi Njau and Charles Odhiambo. My name is Udwa Kamimo. Thank you for watching and engaging with us here on Cheche. We'll see you next week.